I'd love Delacour to have one good big swing at Ombudsman in it, Tom, personally. I think Calandagan is he's not forgotten, is he? Because we know exactly what he can do, but in terms of the big fight between the top two, he might just be underestimated, especially if there's some pace in the race. I think that might suit him to just behave himself that little bit better. All for another day, though. Plenty of water under the bridge. This is I'm not sure why we're so delayed. This is the first time I've seen jockeys and just us in the parade ring, no connections, well before the horses came in. But they're here now. This is number 4, who is Cotier, who is one of the more exposed ones, as the bell goes, in the Unibet 3 Uniboost Today Maiden Filly Stakes. She officially has a mark of 73. We know more about her, and she took a big step forward from her debut of a course and distance to an extended mile at Wolverhampton. Just failed in breaking the maiden there. She's run since a fair run, went third and beaten nearly 5 lengths at Southwell recently. Feels like she just needs a little bit more to figure in here, because there are unexposed types who we're not sure of where their abilities lay or where their ceiling lays. Number 5 is behind. That's Cartini. Kieran Fallon up for Ollie Cole. Is back 11 days after the debut. The rug is on. 7 lengths, third of 5 at Chelmsford over 7. Looking at a pedigree, I thought all about next year personally. Looking at her and just the size of her, I'd say that probably lends to the theory as well. Sapphire Princess, another experienced one in here, placed in her first 4 starts, 3 of them over in Ireland, and she just needs to get into a bit more of a groove, and ideally settling down and saving something for later. She should be fine over the trip if she just keeps a lid on herself. Behind is number 8. This is Well Judged. You heard all about her via James Doyle in the winning interview. He's looking for a quick double. This one for Roger Varian. Not given a hard time when the race was out of reach, I thought, on debut. And a bit to like about that performance. Absolutely no surprise to see that she is our favourite. Number 3 just in behind, that's Anwen, likely one for further down the line, just the one run, and she was far too green after a slow start. She needs more experience and time. Number 1, Belle of KT, William Cox for Stan Moore. Postponed filly out of a Singspiel mare, was due to go through the ring at Tutsburg before as a yearling, but was withdrawn, and another that you just feel would likely benefit from a bit more time, although she's had it. I mean, she's bred for further. The dam was a 6 furlong winner as a 2-year-old. There's been no support, ultimately, because the support, Tom, has come for Well Judged. I was interested to see what the market would make of her, of just the one run, and whether one of the more experienced ones like Thaisa, who we haven't seen in the paddock, or left fairly sharpish, given that she has the form in the book and of a mark of officially rated 74, whether that would be considered good enough to win it and possibly usurp favouritism. Well, not a bit of it. Well Judged, I believe, solid pretty much all day at the head of affairs in the market.
She is, Anthony. We could have a look at that now. 5-4, Well Judged. I am quite surprised by how short Thaisa is, I must admit. 6-4 over Sapphire Princess, 11-2. Cotier is 12-1. Cartini at 16s. And when 150-1, Belle of KT 200. So 7 go to post. I had Thaisa, Sapphire Princess and Cotier of a similar ability on what they've done so far, Rach. So I am a little bit bemused by how short Thaisa is. I guess Sasheen Murphy, Andrew Bording. And on that one piece of form at Haydock, you could put her maybe slightly shorter than the other 2, but I still think that's a too big a discrepancy. Yeah,
it definitely was. Because the good form, as you just mentioned, at Haydock, that was in May. Then she disappeared for 4 months, probably jarred herself up on the ground at Haydock, came back at Newcastle over 7 furlongs last time, and finished in underwhelming 4th, but the caveat being she was never put into that race. She was out in the back and then just sort of plugged on. It was a 6-runner race. You watch it, you can go, should come on for it, never really involved. The seconds come out and won at Brighton. But you're like, I agree with you. I thought she'd be maybe 3rd or 4th favourite. This gamble for me, for all that Balding and Murphy, when they team up, you might as well just throw money at them, because that's what's been happening all summer. But they have to beat the bank in chill, so this surface should be absolutely fine. I thought if you were going to go with somebody other than the favourite, and I'm surprised she's 12-1, is Rafe Beckett's horse number 4, Cotier. Ross Ryan on, looking for a double. This horse has just improved pretty much for each one of the runs. Run last time at Southwell over a mile, finished 3rd, couldn't go with the winner. So I actually think a drop down in trip would suit. She does like to go forward. She made the running last time, so I think from 5, Rossa might just go, all right, come on. And the daughter Justify, I think, is a very, very big danger. Well judged. The run at Southwell. For all that, it was interesting listening to James Doyle, because he wasn't aboard on the debut run. It was Ray Dawson, and he said the race looked weak, but she did well enough, and it was weak. But Stellenbosch, the winner, looks very, very good. And then Well Judged was 2 lengths clear of the rest of the field, and she stayed on from the rear. She actually made up ground, whereas Stellenbosch was up there. I think from stall 3, James will probably get her out, get her running. The Dam was unraced, but is a half to the 1,000 guineas winner, Just the Judge. So I thought of all of the Roger Varian horses, the 3 that he brought, this was if he only was going to have one winner, it was going to be her.
Yeah, I thought she was the most likely winner, I have to say, as well. Just on Cotier, you mentioned her a minute ago. Would you read anything into the fact that she's now qualified for a mark? She's got a mark of 73, but Rafe Beckett is persevering with the novice route rather than tackling a handicap. Would you read anything into that or no? Probably
this time of year, these races come up weak, potentially. I mean, the 3 horses in here who have a mark are Cotier, Sapphire Princess, and Thaisa, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th favourites. And it's respectively 73, 73, 74. If you're a weights and measures person, just simply on that, Thaisa should not be anywhere near the price that she is, and conversely, Sapphire Princess and Cotier should not be the prices that they are.
One's 6 to 4, one's 12 to 1. I mean,
yeah, no,
makes sense.
I don't see why she's 12 to 1, Cotier. I mean, that's quite frankly ridiculous.
I mean, I agree with you. I do. I think Well Judged will win and win well, to be honest. That's my personal point of view. 5 to 4, she is as well. Well Judged. Thaisa, 6 to 4. Sapphire Princess, 5s, 12 to 1, and 2 big prices. Cotier, 18s for Cartini, 250s for the outsiders. Let's get final thoughts. Musings, indeed, with Anthony.
Thank you, Tom. I thought it would be a Doyle double, personally. I liked what Well Judged did. As Rachel mentioned, and the key point is that Stellenbosch was so well placed in that race. She had the experience in the book. She got that badly needed win. Well Judged was put in there for education, education, education. And she was still green when making up the ground from the back as well, but she wasn't given an unduly hard time. The race was over and gone. She finished the best possible position she could, which was 2nd behind a vastly experienced filly who up until that point had been quite disappointing, so especially with the pedigree she has. So this isn't a penalty kick by any means, because Thaisa sets a standard. 74, another good point by Rachel was that sometimes these are very winnable contests, and she should come on a bundle from Newcastle, where in a slowly run race she stayed on, and it was disappointing overall, but if she was placed a little bit further forward by Oisin Murphy, you fancy that this could be a little bit more interesting. Sapphire Princess, I'm surprised is the 3rd favourite rather than Cotier, who I don't think has done a massive amount wrong so far, and it will be interesting to see what she can offer. Already has a mark of 73, but like Thaisa, connections maybe think they can find a race to exploit. Sapphire Princess heading forward, and they're all in. John Hunt has the call.
We are ready to go over 7 furlongs. They're off and racing. Belle of KT dwelt leaving the gates through the 1st furlong. Cotier needs a bit of driving along as well in behind the leaders. Well Judged started the race well, so too did Sapphire Princess, and Thaisa, between the 2 of them, is racing very keenly indeed. She needs to drop her head and relax. She's just ahead of An Wen and also Cartini towards the outside. Cotier is next, and still last of all is Belle of KT. So they're making their way around towards the half-mile marker in this Unibet 3 Uniboost Today Maiden Fillies Stakes race. And the leader is Sapphire Princess, showing up from Thaisa, who's a little better settled now in 2nd place. Well Judged is in 3rd, just nudged along gently, followed by Cartini. Cotier on the outside of An Wen, flat out, and the back marker is Belle of KT. Sapphire Princess leads the way. Thaisa, Well Judged, is working quite hard and is still 2.5 lengths adrift. And Sapphire Princess continues to roll on in fine style here. Thaisa in 2nd place, but not closing. Well Judged hasn't mounted any challenge, and neither has Cartini. And Sapphire Princess enters the last half furlong comfortably clear in the hands of Daniel Tudhope. Sapphire Princess goes on to win from Thaisa, and well judged second and third. Cartini was next home.
Sapphire Princess, bit of a turn-up in our latest race from Kempton. The most experienced in the field and has made it count, 11-2. Danny Tudhope up for Ollie Sangster in the colours of Mrs. R.G. Hillen. And it all went perfectly from the start. I think the fact that she was consented to drop ahead a little bit more than she had done in her previous tries over this kind of trip, while still not completely racing straightforwardly, has ultimately paid dividends. She's got a high cruising speed. She has shown that to good effect. Thaisa was not able to mount the challenge where necessary, and it will be interesting to see what this form is worth going forward. A mark of 74 gives you some kind of context. Well judged, was one of the first who was really being got after by James Dahl of the leading principals. Has run a slightly muddling race, Tom, considering the position that she was in, considering that it felt like everything was going perfectly. She was getting a lead. She just wasn't up to it on the day. And the most experienced in the field, Sapphire Princess, officially rated 73 herself, is off the mark.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. It's taken her a while to get off the mark. She looked like a winner in waiting after her debut back at Cork. That was in April this year, when starting off her career with Jer Lyons in the Jobmont Silks. Was sent off 11-8 on that day, finished second, but it's taken a while for her to get her head in front, and tonight has been the night. From that wide draw, Rach just comes across.
Yeah, Danny Tudhope just gets her out in front, and she settles quite nicely. You can see the second favourite Thaisa in behind, pulling and reaping, throwing her head around, never really settling. Obviously, the hood is not just a fashion accessory, but it didn't really seem to be helping. But Asheen got her in behind the eventual winner, and the 1-2-3 were the 1-2-3 throughout. Not a lot happened. In fact, the 1-2-3-4 stayed there. The disappointment, and potentially why she was a big price, was for all that Cote on the form looked like a progressive filly, she was never going a yard with Ross Orion today.
No, she wasn't. She was bumped along from an early stage. I think this is a vital point to look at as regards the favourite here, Rach Red in the home turn, because James Dahl just has to get to work a little bit aboard the favourites.
Yeah, John actually was saying in commentary, like, just being gently nudged along, and this is a bit like she did on debut when sort of asked for the performance. There was that big old, wait, what are we doing? Computing, wait, oh, got it, now we go. So again, potentially another educational run. Maybe next time they put her a little bit closer to the pace, but Sapphire Princess, they bought her at a Judmont for 110,000 guineas. It was no drop in the bucket, and they have a nice little filly there, sort of just eased up on the line. Thaisa, again, has shown yet more chance that she can go and win one, but again, this is another one. Will they now try and go handicapping with her, because you'll get bigger fields? They might have a better pace that she'll be able to drop in and sort of relax into, or these races sometimes start coming up quite weak this end of the season, that maybe just keep trying to find another filly's restricted maiden or novice or something, and try and just not even pot hutch, just try and get the win next to the name, considering that she, for all, is quite related to a family that normally is King Power, but that Andrew Balding knows well.
Yeah, I think needs to settle better as well, doesn't
Oh,
she?
yes.
She was too keen in the early part of the race. As regards the favourite, well judged, I do wonder, outpaced off what weren't particularly quick fractions in a 7-furlong race, gets to the final furlong, then starts to make headway. Do you think a step up in trip might be the way to go?
Potentially. I mean, the thing is, she didn't really travel particularly well. Like James did have to keep niggling her a long way out, and I mean, yes, going up in trip, experience will always help. Maybe they'll come in and just go, well, maybe put some cheek pieces or something on her just to get her a little bit closer up to the pace. But luckily, the Roger Varian team will be well versed in figuring that out.
Yeah, certainly will. Let's get some reaction with Anthony.
Danny Tudhope, Sapphire Princess off the mark. You were the most experienced in the race and you put it to good use.
Yeah, exactly. Like Ollie said, you know, pop her out and let her bow along if you can, and if you can get in front, you'd be happy with that. And she enjoyed that today. You know, she was able to get to the front. She picked her ears. I was able to fill her up around the bend, and had plenty of horse under me up the straight. So yeah, she's won well.
Sometimes it feels like she's